As we have already mentioned, security in a communication network does not necessarily refer to layer 3. It is crucial to make sure you have protected your network in layer 2 as well. In this video, I will try to demonstrate how you can secure the layer 2 of your network. First, and a very important measure to take, is to protect the MAC address table from flooding attacks that can eventually lead to a fail-open operation. In order to do this, we need to follow a number of steps. First thing I would do was to protect my trunk switch, my VTP trunk switch, from any device that can potentially connect on and get any sort of an access. For example, if we connect this terminal to, say, port 03, as you can see, we have green light, demonstrate connectivity. If we connect a switch, obviously we'll have connection as well. For that reason, it is wise to actually shut down the interfaces that are not used, especially into a VTP trunk switch. So if we select the interface fast Ethernet 03 to 23, practically in this particular scenario, interface 1 is connected to ground floor switch, interface 1 to ground floor switch, interface 2 to first floor switch, and interface 24 is connected to our router. They are all three in trunking mode. So all the other interfaces should be wise to be shut down. As you can see now, this terminal cannot gain access and cannot start or cannot have access into the configuration of this switch unless the person who is using this terminal is an IT manager, an IT person anyway. So, pardon me, I was going to erase this. Nice. Now it is nice to secure the access layer switches as well. Let's go first on the ground floor switch. Enable, go to the configuration terminal and select which interfaces you would like to secure. Interface number 24 is a trunk interface that receives information from the VTP server. This switch is configured as a VTP client, but all the other interfaces are used in the access layer actually to provide connectivity to terminal devices. So I select all the interfaces that I would like to apply switch port security on. In order to apply switch port security, you need to make sure that your ports are in access mode. So now we can apply switch port security. By giving this command, you start port security on your device. You allow configuration of port security on your device, plus you instruct your device to listen to the behavior of the configuration that you are going to give next. Now, what are my options in the security with Packet Tracer is you can configure secure MAC addresses, or you can tell your switch which MAC addresses are considered as secure. You can limit the number of devices that can potentially connect in an interface or an interface range, in each of the interfaces of the range, okay, and instruct your device, give instructions to your device of what will be the behavior once a security violation is detected. So my first thing to configure will be the maximum number of devices that I will allow in each of these interfaces. I will allow only one device. In other words, each of the interfaces of the physical interfaces 1 to 23 will be allowed to have just one terminal device attached, or the terminal device attached to each of these ports can only register with a single MAC address. And how does MAC address register on the device? You do the port security MAC address, and then you have three options. Either you give statically the MAC address, or you instruct your terminal to dynamically learn the MAC addresses of the terminals connected on the interfaces. Those interfaces that do not have a terminal connected, when a new device will try to use a switch port, the switch port will dynamically learn the MAC address, and then it will save into the current configuration, which means that after we reload the device, the association will remain intact. Last but not least is to instruct your switch of its behavior when a violation is detected. The options are to protect, restrict, or shut down. I normally prefer the shutdown. And we exit the configuration. Now we have some interesting things to see. First thing is we can show the port security. So you can see which ports are secure. Port 01 to 23 are secure. If you remember, port 024 is the trunk, so we cannot apply port security. As I said, port security only applies to access mode ports. Okay. Here in this column you can see how many secure addresses we can accept in each of these ports. For example, you can select interface fast Ethernet 020, and you can apply switchport port security maximum of say 5. And if we see that, port security now has changed the number of MAC addresses that can be associated with this particular switch port. Here, this number will change once the traffic will start actually flowing the network. At the moment, the switch does not see, so MAC address table does not see these terminals because they haven't yet produced any traffic. Therefore, their MAC address is not known to our switch, and therefore the association, the static association, will not be known anymore. Okay, sorry, just yet I meant. And in this column we can see if we have any sort of violations from each of these ports. Obviously, when you detect a very large number of violations, you can suspect that there is a potential threat connected on this physical port. And obviously here you can see what is the security action, what will be the reaction of the device in case of a violation event is detected. So it's very important now to let our switch know what are the MAC addresses of the connected terminals. The only way to do that is to produce some traffic. Sometimes this traffic fails, especially for the inter-VLAN scenarios where actually MAC addresses, routing tables need to be updated on our router. Now, as you can see, most of the messages are successfully delivered. If we go back to our switch and check the MAC address tables now, apart from the dynamically learned trunk interface 024 that is associated obviously with this MAC address, obviously the MAC address of the router, we also have some static association of certain ports, certain physical ports with a particular MAC address. What does that supposed to mean? That means that the device that is connected on this this interface will only provide service to device with this MAC address. So let's see which device is connected to Fast Ethernet 02. This is 01 here. This is 02 there. If we bring a new PC in and we connect with Fast Ethernet 02, as we know, every modem has a unique MAC address. Although it is initially working, obviously in green light, because this PC hasn't produced any traffic yet. If we attempt to request for a DHCP, you see that immediately the port will go into a shutdown mode, blocking in all sort of traffic produced by this guy. Why? Because obviously the association is unique. Now, if we show port security in interface Fast Ethernet 02, you can see that currently the university is in a air disable mode, is in a secure shutdown mode. That means that as long as the switch detected that we have such a problem, somebody with a non-recognized MAC address is trying to connect to this physical port, the port will stay in this mode for as long as the aging time instructs. If the aging time is 0 minutes, practically it means that this switch will remain in a shutdown mode forever until actually an IT person will toggle the interface, will shut down and start again the interface. So how can we fix this problem? We connect back to our original PC. If you see this status, the shutdown status cannot change unless we go to the configuration terminal, select interface, shut down, and then start again. Now this time, if we fast forward, say we would like to produce some sort of traffic, for example for the DHCP server, we sent a request, the interface didn't shut down, plus we got an IP address. So if we attempt to send some traffic, you see traffic goes successfully, delivers successfully, which means that the interface doesn't shut down. We can repeat the same procedure for the first floor device. Go to the configuration terminal and then select interface range fast Ethernet 01 to 23 and then configure access mode, start port security, restrict only one terminal device can connect to each interface. Instruct your device how to learn MAC addresses and give it instruction of what to do in case of a breach of security. So save current configuration. It's a very nice tactic, it's a very nice practice to save your configuration every time you configure something.